Hello, welcome to Horrible Friends. This is episode New Year, New Fears, and as per the last episode, I am no longer doing a scripted intro because it sounds like my body's being hijacked by some type of creature, demon, ethereal being. Yeah, as opposed to normal, right? So, yeah, so I guess we're going to talk about some of the movies that we saw this year. The list is not super long, just some 2025 bangers that we both watched and both enjoyed. So, yeah. All right, I'm Brandy, and I'm joined by Robin, like usual.
I
All right, so mainly we want to talk about Frankenstein, right?
Oh, we're gonna do Sinners and Frankenstein. Why
Yeah.
don't you start with Sinners and then I'll talk about Frankenstein afterwards.
Okay.
The Sinners is the one that's more of a horror.
Sinners is a bit of. It was a good movie. I really liked it. I
Mm.
really like. I can't remember the guy. The guy. I always forget his name for some reason, even though I think he's like a hottie.
Mike,
Um,
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan, yes. I've liked him ever since I think it was The Wire. I saw him in first, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
but no, not him. The vampire, the lead vampire.
Oh, I don't. You know what? I don't remember who actually played him. Let me look it up. I gotta look it up for my own.
I think his name is
Um,
Jimmy in Skin, so I always refer to him as Jimmy, which I think is even more hilarious because that's his name in the 28 years later movies.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the intro and the concept and the similarities that it
Mm.
had to some historical events, and then tying a bunch of different aspects of racism and the times and the symbolism behind everything all together into the big scenes that were played out. The similarities to things like Dusk Till Dawn and Demon Knight, I really liked those.
Mm.
I know Demon Knight had a lot more uh, of a black presence than Dusk Till Dawn for sure. So it was kind of nice seeing those elements in
Yeah,
both
yeah.
movies.
Good similarity there.
Yeah. Um, and then of course the Vampire Hunters at the beginning. I can only imagine they're going to do a spin-off series. And I know we talked about that in
Yeah.
our Ginger Snaps episode because the indigenous guy from Ginger Snaps Snap Back, was that what it was? It was the one where they were in the past. The
The one where
indigenous.
they were in the yeah, Ginger Snaps back. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Ginger Snaps back.
So he is in the the Sinners.
It's the same. I didn't realize it was the same actor.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool too.
Oh, it was great. I know I made a comment to you earlier today that made it seem like I didn't like Singers, but I really did. It was a great movie.
Hmm.
Um, the thing that I found about it, just the style of storytelling is one that I don't necessarily find works for me a lot of the time. I feel like there was a lot of, I think I was watching a bunch of different movies, which kind of goes to your point about, making a spin-off about the Choctaw Vampire Hunters, because
Yeah.
it's like, I liked it a lot. It was a very, very good movie, but I just felt like, and again, this style of storytelling works really well for some people. Obviously, you liked it. You found it a little more engaging than I did. Um, but I found it was like sometimes when you're writing a story, come up with, okay, this is what happened, and then we have to make this happen, and then we have to make this happen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that kind of got put in to justify why those things are in there, and I'm like, I feel like, yeah, just I find it kind of takes away its own mystery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like why things are happening. Like I'd like to have more mystery about why things are happening. I feel like a lot of these different stories could have been told separately or don't need to be hammered home why they're so interconnected. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
You could have just
I
shown.
agree.
I feel like I like it more when things are just shown. Yeah.
Mhm.
But anyway, other than that, I think it was a fantastic movie. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, all in all, I did really like it. I have my own heavy criticisms. I feel like they made it a little goofier than they had to, but at the same time, you could tell that he was just having fun making this movie. Um, the thing that
Absolutely.
kind of grossed me out the most about it, and as you know, I'm a highly analytical, overly analytical person when it comes to visual
Yeah.
effects and like plot holes and like why was this even put in the movie? Like they never explored it. Like what was the point? So one thing that really bothered me was saliva. So they get
Yeah, I'm in the same way with saliva.
the saliva makes sense. Like I get it. They're salivating. They're so excited to consume blood. Yeah,
Yeah.
so fucking rad. I love drinking blood. I'm so excited, you know, but
Yeah.
like it would be better if it was even if it was a quick gradual thing. It was like all of a sudden they just had this like fucking smegma-y booger crap all over their face. And
Yeah.
and it was to me like revolt, like I gagged when I saw it because I was like, what? Like what is happening? Like I know I'm not a big fan of the juicy like gross stuff, but like what was that, creepy stories? The maggot was
Oh,
always
the
really
series?
slimy. Yeah, so yeah, or scary stories, yeah. So the
Yeah.
maggot was always really slimy, and I felt like they did a really good job with like his sliminess, and it was like really like perfectly
Absolutely.
textured, and like the viscosity was like right on point. But in this movie,
Yeah.
it was like they just, I don't know, grabbed some gelatin and like glued it to people's faces, and I don't know. I felt like it could have
Yeah.
been
You
done
can do that.
better because what they were going for, I think they lost it with like the over. I don't know. It's just too. It was too chunky. It was too immediate, and I think that it would have been better had they made it more realistic looking, if that makes sense. And those scenes, I
Yeah,
think, would
that's
have
fair.
been more, in my opinion, far more delicious. And you know, because it would have really brought the viewer into that, like, oh my god, they're like they just fucking love blood. Like, oh my god, it's so tasty and delicious to them.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
in the movie, it felt like almost lost because it was like they were just like disgusting instead. And yeah, I don't know. That I feel like
Yeah.
that seems to be an opinion only I have had with a lot of people. They're like, "What's your problem? You don't like the movie?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "No, I love the movie, especially that scene at the end." But or not the very end. I felt like that was a bit that kind of washed over a lot of stuff.
I I felt like, I mean, I'm the same way with saliva in general. Like it's hard for me. Like I don't want to sit here and rate the effects because I am grossed out by saliva, but at the same time, that works really well as a horror element for some people.
Yeah.
So you know, it was. I'm sure it was great for the audience it was for, but I'm disgustedly grossed out by it
Yeah.
to a point that I'm kind of like I have to step back a little bit. It's like things with noses and eyes and ears and stuff. I just every time a nose is broken, I just get
Yeah.
I gotta close my eyes, you know, like
That's fair.
and look away.
I have that with
Um,
I was
I guess
talking.
that's part of the experience.
So I don't know if you knew this about me, but my least favorite monster is zombies, um, and a lot of that is because of certain scenes I've seen. Most of the time, I'm okay with a zombie movie if it's just like whatever. Zombies exist and people are hiding from them, and it's all about survival and like survival against man, really. And the zombies are really
Well,
just inconvenience.
zombie movies are more
Yeah,
yeah, zombie movies are a lot often more about like what humans do in those situations than about the
exactly.
monsters.
When we all have to depend on each other, instead we just
Mm,
fucking exploit each other
mm,
and attack, kill each other, and steal from each other, and etc.
yeah.
But the thing about zombies that I don't like is the like eating of living flesh. Like it's one thing when a
Yeah.
carnivore or like a bear attacks you and like starts eating you, but humans don't really have
Mm.
flesh tearing teeth, and
No.
it
No.
takes a lot of like strength and effort and like like that seems really painful,
Yeah.
and it also seems almost like when they're pulling the tendons out of people's necks and all like all that stuff really
Yeah.
gets to me really bad, and I just don't deal with it very well, so I'll often close my eyes when that's happening. Well, that's because of the mirror synesthesia that I have, so I can kind of feel it happen to me when I'm watching it, and I
Yeah, that's
can't handle it. Yeah. So
I don't, and I've talked about this before. I don't like seeing things where like scenes where people are like the people have their own like their guts spilling out and stuff like
yeah,
that. That really gets to me.
yeah, exactly.
But not so much with corpses, but with like live people. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I can handle it if it's like a zombie eating someone. But
If they're
yeah,
already
yeah, it's
dead or
somebody. I think.
something, yeah, exactly. But if they're alive, they're being ripped apart, like that
Yeah.
scene in what is it, Braveheart? Yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
Oh God, yeah, that's a lot. That was a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that's again, and I've talked about this before. That's why I don't really watch like. That's why I don't really watch things like the Saw movies
Yeah.
because it's that's those movies again. They work for some people, but for me, like that's what those movies are. Is all it's just all
Mm-hmm. Body
the
horror.
one part
Yeah.
that I don't like.
Yeah. Like
You
I'm
know,
okay with a
not
lot of
even
body
just body
horror.
horror in general. 'Cause I really like,
Yeah.
but that particular those particular types of
Mm-hmm.
realistic torture, basically,
Yeah. Exactly.
to me.
It's just too. I don't even want to say real or visceral, but um, it's just like I don't know. It gives me the willies. So
That's
yeah.
fair.
So yeah, some stuff like yeah, like both of us have said, it's totally fine, and it can even like enhance the quality of a film because it's like okay, I really understand what's happening here and why this is so scary. Or why this is supposed to be a
Yeah.
horror film. But yeah, some scenes it's like, ugh, come on. I know that you're
Yeah, exactly.
enjoying this, but I'm not. Yeah,
Oh, and I mean, I will say, other than the few effects that we talked about, Sinners did manage that pretty well,
they did.
in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, it was honestly only like I liked the teeth, I liked the eyes, I liked how their personalities changed into like this. Because in the vampire culture, I'm really excited to see it expand a little bit more because most vampire. I was actually talking about this not long ago. Most vampire culture stuff is like you become this sexy immortal creature who craves blood and you're kind of like
Yeah,
intuitionally tied to the people that made you and your brethren in the vampire industry. um, but you all like take over
yeah,
somebody's old mansion and you're rich somehow because you're dazzling people into
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, so like that's the typical vamp idea of a vampire, and like all of them are these like
yeah.
irresistible sex maniacs or whatever. And so I really like the idea that this was like this like lonely, guttural community hive mind type thing where they lack something so deep that they crave somebody like Sammy, and because
Yeah.
he is able to resist them in such a powerful way because he sees what they're offering and he's like I don't want that and they keep
Yeah.
trying to convince him because they really want him to be a part of what they have going on but I think it's also lost on them because what he has he will lose as soon as he becomes a part of their hive, you know, like sure he might be creative but you know he's going to lose that soul that brings him that once he become if he were to join them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big thing with vampire movies is like sometimes I find that a lot of different like a lot of movies tend to not really set up the stakes very well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, pardon the pun. But like, yeah, you're like, yeah, you're gonna gain immortality, but like, oh, you're not gonna. The sun is gonna hurt you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to what in real life that's a big deal, but in a movie that's not. You need more. Like, what are you going to lose?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what you're gonna have to give up part of yourself to gain this thing, and that's often what makes the kind of choice compelling. And a lot of movies don't tackle that, or not even movies. A lot of stories don't tackle that effectively enough because
Mm-hmm.
they're so like it seems like they're so caught up with like the sexiness of immortality and being
Mm-hmm.
a night creature kind of thing, you know.
Well, and like
And yeah, no, Sinners really did.
yeah, and 30 years ago, people were more active during the daytime and less active in the evening. And now, somebody being like, oh, you mean I can't ever go out in daylight? Cha-ching. I am so thrilled about this. I love
Yeah,
being up all night and never
yeah,
being awake during the daytime. So, like, that's
yeah,
not
yeah,
exactly,
exactly.
that's not real fear anymore for a lot of people because a lot of people are
No.
introverts. They're introverts, they're night owls, etc. You have the overnight shift workers. It's all of those people and they're
Yeah,
like oh man I don't have to give up anything and not only can I live forever but I can convince people to do whatever I want whenever I don't have to cook anymore.
yeah,
I don't have to buy
yeah,
groceries anymore. I
exactly,
just have to murder people and if I'm selective
exactly,
enough no one will even notice. Yeah, so
exactly.
I think modern vampires have to evolve for those reasons even though this took place in what was it, the 60s, something like that, 50s maybe.
It was way earlier than that, definitely earlier
Oh
than
yeah,
that.
yeah, you're right. Probably 40s. especially
Way
with the
younger
music happening, and the references that it made
than that. Yeah, that
to
was like,
the nightclub burning down. Uh, Back then too, where there was a bunch of really talented black musicians that got together and they were singing in this club, and it got closed up and burned down with a bunch of people inside.
1932 it took
Okay,
place.
shit. Okay, yeah. So long ass time ago.
Yeah, I love the blues and blues music, and I love. Well, you and I are both like very creative people, so like I feel like setting that up as like the stakes, like what you're going to lose, your soul, your creativity,
Yeah,
as part of this deal that you have to make to become a vampire, I think was
yeah, which is
a
so
really good
apparent.
way of doing it. You
It,
know, I was just going to say, like, also tying that, mentioning the blues and everything, tying all that in with music being part of like the magic, like the actual like the mystical tradition behind the whole thing.
yeah,
It didn't just set that up as the stakes; it made it the whole theme.
yeah, yeah,
Really
which is really cool.
amazing.
Yeah, because the music was bringing people together and it was attracting people that didn't necessarily who wanted to exploit them, right? If you really think
Yeah,
about
exactly.
it, he wanted to exploit Sammy for his talent and also to bring him into his world where he felt so empty and lonely, because he didn't have what Sammy was providing, which I think he was a little short-sighted on, because he wouldn't have been able to provide it really anymore anyway, because he would have been part of this vacant hive mind, which was very apparent with
Yeah,
the twin and his lady friend. I can't remember their names.
big time.
Yeah,
I'm
joining.
bad with that too.
Yeah, because they clearly weren't them anymore. You know what I mean? Like they were kind of them.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
had
yeah,
their
exactly.
memories, but it was like
Mm,
they were part of this collective that really only cared about
yeah,
growing and indulging,
yeah.
right? So yeah, exactly.
In a way, like gaining immortality in a sense, but really, you like as a person are dying. It's just your memories that kind of
Yeah, you're giving up
stay within the hive mind.
your
You're still dying.
individuality. Yeah, your individuality is about to disappear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is, I would
Yeah,
imagine,
exactly.
why Jimmy feels so
Uh,
alone. It's like, yes, you have
so it is.
this big community of all these people that
Mm,
you've put together. His name isn't Jimmy in the movie, but these people he brought together to be a part of like one mind and one soul and one desire. But what you're losing is that those sparks and those individual elements that people really have that separate them from each other and make them human. Yeah.
yeah. So it is in a way to me. It is a form. Even though you're like the trade off is like, oh, you're going to be immortal. You are still dying. Like it is still death.
Yeah.
It's the way I kind of perceive it.
Yeah, it is. You're losing part of yourself. It's like,
Yeah. No.
I mean, in reality, I mean, it's also like a big commentary on the music industry itself, or any industry, really, any industry where you're gaining any type of fame or like recognition, because there is always that risk where, like, look at Billie Holiday. Her entire career and struggles were built on her trying to do
Yeah.
things for herself, from herself, and not be controlled or held down by anybody. And it still ended up taking her in the end, which is so fucked up. But like, especially back then,
Yeah.
if you were
No, I agree.
talented and you were an individual, the wolves were at your door trying to exploit you, trying to take away who you really were because they wanted your talent to make them money and to bring them control, and that was pretty apparent in this movie
Yeah.
as well. Yeah. So lots of commentary in it. The issues I have with it are very like surface level inconsistencies and like obviously visual problems that I had, and I don't understand what the point of the twins
Yeah.
was, but at the same time, people have explained it to me, and I guess I can accept that it's supposed to be a play on the two personalities that everybody
Yeah.
struggles with, the two versions of themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like thematic. Well, that's kind of. I feel like that's kind of what I meant when I was talking about how it feels like I'm watching a couple of different movies. You know, like
Yeah.
it feels like there was a lot of really amazing ideas for setups, and they're like, "Well, I'll just put them all in,
Yeah.
right?" And it's like I don't know, like you could have followed any one of those threads, like the Choctaw Vampire Hunters, amazing storyline to go with,
Yeah.
and that could have been pretty much most of the setup, or like the thing with the twins. if you'd followed that on its own and that been its own storyline, it would have been amazing setup.
Or
But
even
like, I don't
Sammy's
know,
life
I just felt
from.
like they were trying to combine too many things. And then
That's true. Yeah. Maybe it'll turn into a series or something. Because it'd be cool to see Sammy's life from that day until the day that the people approach him when he's older. That'd be kind of cool to see how his life unfolded and how much he had to like fend them
no,
off and
absolutely,
like tell them to leave him alone and stuff, right? Because they're constantly trying to
yeah, I
convince
agree. That'd
him.
be a great
Yeah.
vampire.
Yeah. But I agree. There's a lot of.
Yeah,
Is convolution the word I'm looking for?
I think maybe.
But
Um,
there's a lot going
I
on in it that could have been explored more, and it felt like they just it was like very surface level with no intent, and that kind of sucked.
yeah,
Yeah,
they were trying to explore. Yeah, they could have explored any of those things more. Instead, they went for exploring a whole bunch of different things,
yeah,
and I would have preferred them to explore one or two of those things a little more deeply.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
Set
and
up here's the storyline, but yeah, no, I mean, again, I think it was a great movie. I don't want to give the impression that I didn't like
no,
it.
I think we both
See that
really
style
enjoyed
of
it.
storytelling.
I'm just picking it apart for my own
Yeah,
personal reasons. I did want to pick one more thing apart
yeah,
before we move on. Um, Again, yes, I really love the movie. I really love Michael B. Jordan, and I really love the director. He's obviously ahead of his time and really taking a chokehold on the market with the power he's been given, etc. And I think it's really important that he does as much as he can
yeah.
with his clarity and writing and directing. Um, I'm excited to see more from him. I my A big criticism I had of the
Absolutely.
film was that the twins were too similar. A lot of people argue that they're very different, but I honestly didn't find them to be that different, other than like one of them wore a different type of hat.
I feel like the fact that they had to make that wardrobe choice where one's wearing a different hat, so you can tell them apart. That says a lot about the fact that they didn't write them different enough. You know,
Yeah, like, and Michael B. Jordan's a good actor, so I feel like he totally could have like cooked the role. You know what I mean? Um,
absolutely,
but it was like they were
yeah,
like, well,
absolutely.
that's not as important as everything else. It's like, okay, but like then why put the twins in there? And it reminded me of this show I
I
watched,
agree.
this show with James Franco where he played twins. And eventually they kill one of the twins off because I think they realized they were like, we have no idea how to individualize this guy into two people. He's James Franco. He just plays the same guy in everything. Um, what the heck was it called? It was about the porn industry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was really, I really liked it, but he was my least
Juice,
favorite
I think.
character for sure. Um,
Yeah,
well. I'll think of it later.
it's called The Deuce.
The
I
Deuce.
literally
There
looked
we
it up.
go.
It's called The
Yes,
Deuce.
yes. Okay, yeah. The Deuce.
Deuce.
Actually, the
Yeah, yeah.
main girl in it, I am actually so upset that she hasn't really been in anything since that show because she fucking nailed the role. She was an incredible actress through the whole series, and like she blew me away. Honestly, everything, and she's so
Uh,
beautiful, and she's got like this voluptuous yet petite persona about her, and I don't know, she's a delicious
yeah.
person and she's a great actress.
Are you talking about Maggie Gyllenhaal?
No, not Maggie Gyllenhaal.
You talking
I
about?
love Maggie, but I'm talking about I can't remember.
Yeah.
You know what, I'm gonna look it up. The Deuce.
I haven't seen it. I haven't. I know what show you're talking about, but I haven't seen it. So I'm kind of just like
Yeah, no, it's
looking up things, trying to figure out who you're talking about.
I'm gonna look up her name right now because her name is Emily Mead and her name in the show is Lori. And other than this show, she's been in a couple things, but I honestly don't recognize any of them, any of
Hmm.
it. And
Nothing big. Yeah, you
yeah,
know.
and she's so cute too. Like I'm so surprised. She's not like maybe not conventional Hollywood, whatever, but I personally think she's quite beautiful.
Hmm.
And she's got that like sly, coy look to her. She was in The Penguin as well.
I haven't seen the Penguin yet.
It's pretty good. I think they didn't need to do all those prosthetics on what's his face, Colin. But yeah, she was in a movie called
Yeah.
a show called The Lamb. She was in Dead Ringers. She was in Law and Order and The Penguin, and that's it since The Deuce. And The Deuce came out in 2017 and ended in 2019. So that's nearly 7 years of her barely doing anything. That really sucks. Which is really great. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
I'm done with talking about Sinners.
Liked it. There were some things that didn't work for me, but I really I enjoyed it and I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's it for me for Sinners.
Yeah, I gave Sinners a 4 out of 5. Obviously, 5s hold a special reservation for me, and I really liked it as well. Just because I gave it a 4 doesn't mean I don't like it. All right, yeah, Frankenstein, the monster. So you obviously loved it because he's your man.
I did. I really liked it a lot. He's well, I liked it because I really like Mary Shelley, and I'm going to tell you. I mean, there were definitely some. It was an adaptation into film, so obviously some things had to change. But whoever I don't know if Del Toro himself did, but someone really involved in that movie has read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, because that they did a very good, they changed some things to make it more cinematic and stuff like that, but they kept largely the story very much intact and the themes of the story very much intact. Yeah. And there were some things that were, there were a couple big, there were some big changes, but overall I found that the story was very very well adapted, I would say. And there's a lot of things a lot of the characters were very well adapted, from the Shelley's writing. Just the theme of obsession. Like for me, I mean, obviously Frankenstein isn't really, even the book isn't really a horror story. It's more of a science fiction novel. Yeah. But like what we were talking about with the zombie movies, where for me the horror elements that you get out of that story, whether in the book or in this movie, come more from what people do to each other. Like the monsters, it's what people are doing to each other around the monster. Yeah. That you get the horror from.
And how people react to things they don't understand.
Yep, and how family dynamics create trauma and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, and that whole Freudian nonsense too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I mean, I know I've seen some criticisms about it, people saying oh, it was too much with the generational trauma, but I think they were a little on the nose with some of it. It was very stereotypical and obvious in a way. Mm-hmm. It could have been a little more subtle. And I found that a little bit I almost would have preferred a bit of more of a subtle approach. Mm-hmm. But I think it did it fine because they were trying to cram it into the beginning of this movie,
well, considering the time period, I'd say they were pretty. Yeah. They held the punches back in terms of physical abuse, honestly.
Definitely.
Because physical abuse was nearly a second language to people at that time. And, honestly. And, I think that they could have been a little more aggressive with it if that's what the intention was. So I think that they did a great job with that. I think people just don't like seeing that type of stuff in film anymore is all. Which is fair.
That's fair. I mean, I definitely count myself among the people who don't like seeing it, but at the same time, it's an important part of the story. I'm not saying it shouldn't be in films or anything like that.
Oh no, I'm saying you're correct in that it was pretty normal at the time, and I can see why people are disturbed by it. But if anything, it was probably far worse.
It's good to show it. Sometimes we need to see it, even if it's hard to watch. I also thought, oh my god, Charles Dance as his father was amazing.
Yeah. I just saw a movie with him in it last night.
And I find a lot of movies a lot of adaptations, I keep saying movies, but adaptations in general, not to focus at all on the character of Victor Frankenstein's sort of origin. And while it's not really, really in-depth explored in Mary Shelley's writing, it is there. He was from a wealthy Viennese family. The main difference between the book and the movie, to me, was with the book. Obviously, books are kind of written and divided into different chapters and sections, and you can do that. It's almost like a sort of story vignette. Whereas with a movie, you have to combine things more to make it sort of cinematic. Yeah. So, for instance, in the book, William, his brother, and what's her name, Elizabeth, they're not getting married. That's not a thing. Yeah. Victor marries Elizabeth. It's a whole thing. And the other main big difference for me, but for the movie, obviously what they did was they combined those two storylines to make one storyline so that the characters were in it, which I respect because they're important characters too,
Yeah, and the movie can only be so long. The budget's only so big.
Exactly. It was already 2.5 hours long, right?
Yeah. I didn't realize it was
the other major.
I guess I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, 2.5. I know, it's crazy long. The other major thing was that in the book, he actually does start creating the companion
Oh,
for
yeah.
Frankenstein that he asked for,
Hmm.
and then out of disgust stops and destroys it, and that's what sends the monster into a rage and has him
Yeah.
take revenge and all that stuff. Whereas in this story, or in the movie, he outright just says no because of he's disgusted by the idea,
Yeah.
which again I think was fine. Like you know what I mean, for a movie adaptation, you don't need to go that far down the road to still get the theme there.
Hmm.
And obviously the patron, the guy played by Christoph Waltz, I forget his name, Elizabeth Uncle.
I can't remember his name either.
That isn't really in the book. I don't know if there's a character that maybe he's based on. I can't remember now because it's been so long since I read it.
When was this
But
book written again?
1818, it's like 200 years old.
Yeah.
Mary Shelley is an amazing author. Her mother was an amazing author also.
Mm. I should
Um,
I should start reading her stuff. I think I read like a short story once.
fair. You should read some stuff about her life. She's a fascinating person.
Okay.
And her mother was also a writer and was an activist for women's rights and education and stuff. Fascinating family. Um,
Especially for so long ago. Yeah.
yeah, 1818. Well, I mean, Mary Shelley was amazing writer, and like I said, I liked how sort of faithful this adaptation was
Mm.
in terms of trying to get all of like all the characters in there in a way that you could still do it on film and sort of get the story right. And like the monster when he went on like in the story, sorry, there was one other thing that changed that was a bit of a difference, but not that much. I felt it was good in the movie too. Was when the monster gets on the boat, the book Frankenstein's already dead, so there's no like goodbye scene,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Right in the movie, it became a framing device, which I thought was a good way to do it. And then obviously they had like a sort of like a happier ending. The monster in this is less of a monster than he is in the book,
Hmm.
even though in the book he's also described in the same way. His revenge in the book takes a lot more like in the form of a lot more brutality.
Yeah.
As like he hurts a lot more people in the book than he does in the movie. In the movie, he just really hurts Frankenstein and the people trying to shoot at him.
Yeah.
In the book, he does in the book he spoiler 200-year-old book he kills Elizabeth. The monster kills Elizabeth, not Frankenstein.
Okay.
So yeah, well for an adaptation again, some differences, but I like this. I like the way they handled it overall. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, as somebody who didn't read the book but I've seen a lot of Frankenstein material. I did like this is probably the one I like the most. And then of course I don't know there were some similarities for me to Metropolis and what was that movie? Van Helsing. Obviously minor scenes in Van Helsing that reminded me of this. Just where the monster is incredibly intelligent. And people just
Yeah.
misunderstand his innocence because he's a grown man who has only been alive for so long, and he's just got all this stuff flooding into him and everything, and it's overwhelming, and he's learning quickly, but he has all this love and compassion, and he has all this rage, but also all this desire, and no idea what to do with any of it. Or
He was really just born, so he has all these feelings that we
yeah,
all have, but he doesn't know how to handle them. For him, they're
exactly.
amplified.
Yeah,
Like
it's
rage is like amplified. In the movie, remember how he learned to read by watching the family teaching
yeah,
the young girl to read. That's how it is. That's the story in the book too.
yeah,
Except it's not the young girl. It's like they're teaching someone else to read.
yeah.
But it's the exact same. And the blind man and all that stuff
Very cool.
was really well done.
And the
Um,
like happenstances of the
and
wolves
yeah, that
attacking the man, and the people thinking it was the monster,
yeah,
and yeah,
yeah. It was a little different in the book, but the same idea happened. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Um, and like the theme of him being very intelligent and misunderstood, but then succumbing to rage.
yeah, because he doesn't understand. It's too
Very
much. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
It was a very fascinating way to tell the story in a different way, but that still honored the original story. In my opinion.
Hmm. I guess some things I'll point out that I felt were weird. Because there, honestly, as you know, I tend to notice the weak points in a movie pretty heavily. um,
Yeah,
but in this movie, I didn't see a lot of them. Everything seemed to close up pretty good. Um, I did
yeah,
find it was hilarious that he fell in love with somebody who looked identical to his mother. And not only him, his
I
brother
did,
too.
yeah.
So him and his
His brother,
brother are both in love
exactly. Well,
with
that's
somebody who looks just like
exactly.
their mom.
It's 100% very.
And they both
Yeah.
had obviously a horrifically abusive and controlling and probably had OCD father and was very emotionally unavailable. So naturally, that's where that Freudian theory would come from like an emotionally absent father and an emotionally present and
Yeah.
almost nurturing and dependable mother. Like all of their emotional
Yeah.
ability depended on her existing. So etc. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he
Yeah.
immediately falls in love with a girl who looks just like his mom, right, right away.
His mother
Um,
clearly despises him,
yeah,
like outright
she liked.
despises him.
She seemed to be
Yeah.
interested in the idea of them like being flirty, but then she realized that he was a selfish person.
No, she saw through him
Yeah,
very
exactly.
much.
And
Yeah.
at first it was like, oh, he's
And
charming and everything, and I'm believing his bullshit. And then she's like, oh, you're actually an asshole.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, and the fact that they portrayed him not just as an obsessed scientist, but also
Super
as someone
manipulative.
who's like so manipulative, but also so heavily in denial.
Mm-hmm.
The scene where he goes to like, I'm over you now, and I apologize. She's like, no, you're not.
Yeah, yeah. And he's
Like
like,
that was
whatever.
whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then not just that,
Uh,
but the scene where he kills her by accident. He's just so obsessed with being right and not giving in to this because he doesn't want to accept the fact that he created, like, he knows he created this monster. But he doesn't want to accept the fact that he had wanted to. Like, it's almost like he's like, no, this is I don't know, this was against my will somehow. It's like it wasn't. And then he's trying to convince Elizabeth that he's going to kill her, which I guess he does in the book. But, and then he shoots by accident as soon as they embrace for the first time in however long.
yeah. Do you know what I think is an important point, both in the movie and in the book, and the story of Frankenstein in general, is that what he created was a creature, and it was his treatment of that creature that turned it into a monster.
Exactly.
And and I know it was kind of set up where like, oh, his father treated him poorly, so he treated his kid. I know that was
Very typical for its time.
the very fact that you thought it was a monster and treated it poorly is what made the creature the monster.
Yeah, the generational trauma, I
Not
think,
the
is what he
fact
was
that it
looking
was
for,
made.
yeah.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, that's yeah.
The creation of the
And
monster
I think that
wasn't
like
bringing a corpse back to life. The creation of the monster was his treatment of it.
exactly. Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm trying to. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's present both in Shelley's work, but also here in the movie, very obviously too, which I like. Very like it's a good thing to talk about too. You know,
Yeah.
how like we often kind of create our own monsters by treating people around us poorly.
Yeah.
I don't want to say like like people are responsible for people who treat them poorly. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I mean is like your anger at someone is what they're angry at. Do you see what I mean? Like they're reacting to you.
Yeah.
In some cases, I'm not talking about people who are abusive. That's making a decision and is absolutely wrong. But I mean, like, we kind of create our own inability to handle our own emotions that causes us to treat other people poorly and then perceive that they're us poorly. Like I feel like that sometimes is a thing too, and it's
Projection,
to
yeah.
explore.
Yeah. You mentioned that the ending felt very cathartic for you. That would probably be another criticism of mine is, one, there's no way a man in 1818 has the patience to listen to these guys tell their stories. Unless he's like already drunk or something. And not only that, like, it's so dramatic and like emotional too. So that seemed a little unrealistic and kind of unnecessary, but whatever, it's totally fine.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but I don't want to say it takes away from the movie because, again, I haven't read the book and, like, maybe it's kind of a charming idea of, like, this is how he's hearing everything. However, when Frankenstein was telling his side of the story, it would often go, when the monster was telling his side of the story, it would often cut to scenes where only Victor was present. So it made no sense, or only Elizabeth was present. And
I did notice that.
yeah, and I was like, come on, man, you're a famous director, you know better. But whatever. So in the end, when he was like apologizing, I was like, there's no way that this guy in the last 48 hours or something was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna release all of this resentment and trauma and everything that's making me such a fucking idiot and closed minded to everything,
Yeah,
and all of a sudden I'm a compassionate, forgiving, understanding person, and this monster's gonna totally accept all of that and be totally chill with what I've just
yeah.
said to him.
I think I gave the wrong impression about the ending. It was different, and I was fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't that I found it cathartic. It was just that like
Well, no, I wasn't criticizing
um,
your opinion either. I'm just saying those are my.
no, I know. Just saying, like, if I did give the impression it was cathartic, that wasn't what I meant to give the impression of. Like,
Yeah,
it was just that I was trying to say I was fine with it,
yeah,
not that I actually enjoy it. Like, I thought it was great. I definitely think putting essentially a redemption arc in there was the last line that Victor speaks to him. Basically, is the point of this whole story,
yeah.
which is that like, if you're cursed to live, what can you do but live? Basically,
Mm-hmm. The delivery could have been better.
well, not even the delivery. The fact that like they didn't really have to have him say it. It was that's implied in the story.
Yeah,
They could have ended it where the book did, where he got on the boat and Victor was dead, and
yeah.
it still would have, I think, carried the same weight, the same message.
It would have been cool if they kind of insinuated that Victor was dead and the monster was hallucinating the apology and the explanation and everything. I think that would have been way better and more true
Be
to the
yeah,
idea of him struggling with all of this and trying to accept why he was treated this way and why he couldn't be loved for by the person who created him. Like, why was he created? And yeah, so I think that would have
yeah,
been a really good twist and I think a great way to deliver that message even if it was already obvious.
yeah,
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 Guillermo.
absolutely. Yeah, no, overall, I thought it was good. I liked it a lot. I was impressed. Like I went into it thinking because I saw the sort of trailers for it, and I was like, oh, it's just gonna be another kind of cheesy. I'm gonna kind of crap on Van Helsing and Steven Summers, but I like Van Helsing and I like Steven Summers.
Yeah,
He makes very fun movies, like
yeah, I
fun,
saw it
over the top,
recently.
crazy movies. But it also like there are parts where I'm like a little like almost cringy, cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into this thinking there was going to be a lot more of that, and I was pleasantly surprised that there wasn't.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it didn't take itself too seriously, but at the same time, it didn't go kind of like over the top
exactly. Yeah,
with it, right?
I was worried about the movie actually for that reason because I watched Cabinet of Curiosities and I lost a lot of respect for the director because I was like, what is this bullshit? And I was like, and the CGI is so mashed together and lazily done and like it's just goop, like indecipherable goop. And I really stopped watching the show because
Yeah,
I just thought it was done poorly and all the acting was very over the top and a lot of scenes were so dark that if you did try to like brighten your screen and see what was happening, you couldn't see what was happening anyway because again it was indecipherable goop, CGI goop, and it made me
interesting.
upset. So it's good for people who like creepy stories and stuff, but like it just took away from it for me with all the goop. But I think other people wouldn't notice that as much as I do because I pay a lot of attention to that kind of thing. So in Frankenstein, I really liked
Yeah,
that not only was it visually stunning, blowing Tim Burton's ideas of gothic elegance out the window, honestly, in my opinion. Just like
yeah,
beautiful. Everything was
agreed.
so beautiful. And don't get me wrong, like Frankenstein himself, very beautiful. The fact that they used real prosthetics on him, I'm so impressed and very happy that they did that because he looked great. I feel like they had just enough CGI in there because I think really the only thing they used it for was some of the like special effects with like the lasers and the lightning and whatever, and the wolves
Uh,
and the uncle, and that's about it. And I really liked it a lot, and the butterfly, and and I think it was subtle and perfectly
yeah.
done, and they didn't overcook anything, and visually incredibly stunning too.
Now,
Yeah.
things ahead of time that kind of gave me hope going into it, and I found I was not disappointed with this. Was recently Guillermo del Toro came out and discussed his feelings on practical effects, which again we discussed this like every episode. But his absolute like devotion to using practical effects whenever he can,
Yeah.
and doing big beautiful sets that people can act on rather than all being done on green screen and everything. I just love. I think that's a fantastic sort of approach to making any kind of art, really, in my opinion. and I think it makes it like I think even like maybe your storytelling's not great or you're this or you're that, an element where like if I can see, like I don't know, I like seeing the effort and the passion that went into it, and I can see that really a lot with the sort of practical effects and things like that. A way that I really tend to like. So even the movies that I'm like, and there'll be movies that I don't really like, but I'm like, I didn't like that movie so much, but I like the practical effects in it.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the kind of thing that I tend to notice really strongly,
Yeah.
and I appreciate it every time.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies that I maybe don't like the storyline too much. Like
Mm.
Brain Dead is totally ridiculous, but the practical effects are like, oh my god! I swear they have more. There's more practical effects in that movie than any movie I've ever seen.
That's why you watch Brain
Yeah,
Dead
exactly. Because
for the craziness.
Peter Jackson, right? And it's just like craziness from beginning to end. Yeah, I really liked it.
I read a thing where I read a thing where I think it might have been on actually I think it might have been on the Lord of the Rings commentary tracks
Mm-hmm.
where they were talking about how much absolute fun someone had
Yeah.
making that movie with him because he was just like let's just get gross, like let's just
do
make it
everything. Yeah.
weird and fun, right? Like
Oh
you know, you
man,
can
it
see
was
that. I like that.
so
Exactly.
unnecessary. A lot of the stuff in that movie, but obviously
And,
they had the creativity and the ability to pull it off, and yeah, honestly, like there's so much referenceable practical effects scenes in that movie. They could probably just use that as like,
yeah.
okay, here's how we did this. Like, yeah,
The scene where he's like the montage where he's like pulling bodies apart in the lab
yeah.
and like they basically put like no Willy Wonka. They put like Willy Wonka music to it. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was very funny. It was very like funny, and it was a bit of humor in the midst of it in a way that wasn't like it didn't stand out poorly. You know. I
Yeah.
thought
Well, it really put to the fact that, like, for an example, I like to make bug dioramas for fun, right? A lot of people can't even look at a bug because it disgusts them.
yeah,
And it was like, this guy, this is his hobby. He's so used to handling dead flesh. He's so. He has a project in mind. He's
yeah,
hyper focusing. He knows what he wants to do. He's trying to get it done, and he's like, "Oh, this part won't work. This part, where the fuck is my Phillips head screwdriver or whatever the hell?" Right? Like that's how he's treating it. It's like this is a regular everyday thing for me, and I'm just
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
get
yeah,
my
yeah,
shit
yeah,
done
exactly.
and show people what I'm capable of, and I don't want any bullshit. And I think that that's a really good way to portray the fact that he's a genius scientist, and he has the pieces he's looking for, and he's trying to make this happen.
Yeah,
And that was another thing I wanted to mention. The other two things I want to say about Frankenstein is I love that creature that he presented to people in the stadium or whatever auditorium.
yeah.
That was
Oh
really cool.
yeah,
I loved that.
that was amazing. That
That scene
really,
was like I really like that scene. I think that might be my favorite scene from the whole film. And then the second part that really gutted me a bit was the hole in the middle of the floor because I knew immediately what was going to happen. Somebody was going to fall through that fucking hole.
yeah.
And
We all knew what was gonna happen there. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. We all knew.
and like that's a huge fear of mine for some reason. Is like falling through a random hole in the floor. I don't know why, but it is. And yeah, so that
Yeah,
really.
it happened to my cousin once. It
Oh my
happened.
god. I mean, I fell through my deck once, but that was because it was
Um,
there was a rotten board.
me and some cousins were exploring like an abandoned
Oh yeah.
like ghost like a haunted house in the woods back at our near my uncle's cottage in the mountains. And we were. I mean, I remember I was like probably like 8 or 9 at the time.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, my cousin like he went out onto, and it was falling apart. Like we couldn't go upstairs because the stairs had fallen apart. And I'm so young. I might be piecing these memories together incorrectly. One of my cousins, if I remember correctly, we went out. There was like a deck outside.
Hmm.
We went out onto it, and one of my cousins like fell through it onto like a wood pile beneath.
Oh my god.
Just went right, like went bodily, went right through it. Yeah, he was fine. Everything was all right, but
Hmm. Well, you were kids.
we're
You're
being
just
terrified.
bouncy. Right. At least, yeah.
By the way, I should note, we just talked about Peter Jackson's Brain Dead. So who doesn't know, that movie was released. So Brain Dead was the New Zealand title. That movie was actually released in the States as Dead Alive.
Yeah. Right.
In
Yeah.
case anyone is we to think, yeah, I
I
just
don't
wanted to
know
put that in there
why
for
they
anyone who.
would change it, but whatever. A great movie.
I think it was because there was already a movie in the States called Brain Dead. That's why they did that.
Oh, okay. That makes
Or it
sense.
was released. There was a movie released around that time. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Fair
Look
enough.
it up on IMDb. It's Dead Alive, not Brain Dead.
Yeah. So Sinners and Frankenstein, both, what is that word again? Zeitgeist. So,
Is that? Oh, I don't think it's the right word, but let's
no?
just go with it. It's
Oh,
definitely
okay.
not the right word, but let's just go with it.
Okay,
Um,
I thought somebody said that to me.
no, zeitgeist basically means like a like not like a narrative necessarily, but like an idea that is like a. It basically means spirit of the age. So like
Yeah.
the zeitgeist is like the ideas, the sort of set of ideas that are sort of like inhabit a period of time in a way for a bunch of different people.
I guess that
Um,
is not the word.
it's not quite the
That's
word
okay.
you're.
We'll cut that out.
No, no, I think we should. I think we should leave it in. Actually,
Yeah, people can't assume that I'm the most intelligent person, and please do not think that the things I say are always accurate. Always double check and Google the bullshit that comes out of my mouth.
yeah.
Very true.
Same. I have to say, don't ever take anything I say on.
Yeah, I may be cool, but I don't know everything, and I usually get words mixed up.
Tim,
So yeah,
Tim, when you look as good as I do, you don't have to know anything.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I've learned.
Handsome bubble.
Exactly.
People will just tell me I'm right no matter what I say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. Happens
Well,
all the time.
all right. Well, yeah. I guess that's all I have to say about either of those movies.
Yeah.
They're good,
And that
and
was all.
I like them. I will mention some other movies I watched this year that I did really like. 28 Years Later was probably my favorite, and my second favorite would probably be Bring Her Back. I really liked that. I apparently becoming a big Australian horror fan. Um,
Interesting.
and what was the other one? I really, honestly, Weapons is a whole other conversation, and I think we should talk about it at some
Yeah,
point.
we should do an episode.
Yeah, I liked it, but there were some issues that I had, and they kind of made it so I didn't like the film as much. And I was really excited to watch the movie, and I even saw it in theaters. And you know me, I do not like to go to the theater. Like, I like to go to local cinemas to watch movies, but I do not like to go to the
Yeah, but like big
Cineplex
theater.
because fuck those guys and their money
Yeah.
stealing, blah,
Oh,
whatever.
you have I know you have trauma for having worked for them for years.
You know what? I actually really liked working at the movie theater, but I don't know. There's just something about seeing movies in the Cineplex that I just don't. It's not as fun to me unless it's like a really. If it's going to be like a visually encapsulating movie, like seeing 28 Years Later, I did watch The Bone Temple on Sunday, and I'm really happy I saw it in theaters because it was like there's a really powerful scene that I think you'll especially really like, Robin, when you get a chance to watch it. Yeah, both of those were pretty good. The 28 Years Later movies.
I have not done much else this year so far, so I'll have to
Yeah.
get on to watching more stuff.
Yeah, and I'll mention that I recently became a part of a local cinema screening group called Thrillemma. I think I've mentioned it a few times on the cast, and last night was my first night
Yeah.
with them, and it was pretty cool. We actually didn't play a horror film; it was a comedy, which was fine. I forgive them.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
It was The Golden Child. It's pretty.
It's called Thrillema. As long as you're thrilled, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Thrills and whatnot for all. Yeah, it was a decent movie, and I'm glad that because like yeah they asked me to join, and I'm pretty stoked about that. So I'm excited to see what happens. It's pretty low pressure,
Yeah, no, it's
low
great.
energy type stuff, which is even better for me. So all right, cool. Um, yeah, New Year, new fears.
Here's your fears.
Yeah, hopefully I get some more phobias this year. Just throw them on the pile.
Yeah.
By the way, BT Dubs, HFX Horror. So please follow me on Instagram and Facebook, HFX Horror. Um, as I've mentioned before, is a group where we are trying to make mini conventions throughout the year happen, or mini collaborations throughout the year happen, so that we can make a larger convention for horror films, horror gamers, horror writers, etc., to come together and celebrate the horrors of horror together, and it would be great. So our next event, which I'm trying to do one a month, but it's not always easy to track down a decent venue that is affordable, is going to be Scarioke at a place called the Jellies Bar on February 13th, which is Friday the 13th, and also the day before Valentine's Day. So bring your favorite horrible friend and come sing some scary songs with us. That'd be cool.
You can find me online at Bear Iron Eye on YouTube and on Twitter, but you can find me on Blue Sky as well under the same name. And yeah, that's where you can find me if you want to see more content related to games and other things.
That was cool, and thanks for hanging out with me, Robin. And I hope everybody has a horrible day. Stay horrible, everyone.
All day. Hope it sucks. Bye.
Bye.